Were you able to hear that? It sounds like Croy Bierman told Kim Zolciak, his wife, now the whole world's gonna effing know. Or now the world's gonna effing know. It's easier to hear Croy's voice instead of Kim's voice. You might hear Kim screaming or hollering. It's a video from far away, and it was before Thanksgiving, right before Thanksgiving, and obviously the beleaguered couple was fighting loudly enough for their neighbors to take notice, even though they have all that property and all that acreage. They were outside their home once again screaming, and of course the cops were called.
Oh, hi there, Sadie. Yeah, I'm goofing around. I have to do something productive today, but while the videos are playing, I'll be doing stuff probably in the background. I like to feel like I'm not alone. All right, here we go. I'm going to mute the mic though, so you don't get distracted.
Again that night. Apparently their neighbors around
let's chat in the chat. Any questions?
Georgia are worried enough that this divorce could turn into a true crime situation. The cops showed up, but not because neighbors called. I believe it's because one of the children called, unfortunately. And what is the whole world gonna know? What is Croy talking about? I keep wondering, what more secrets could be divulged from this couple beyond what has already been divulged? Let you listen to that clip one more time and see what you hear. So that was an extremely loud fight. One of the kids called the cops. I've already put in my request for the body cam footage from that night. I put it in 2 weeks ago. I still need to pay the $243 for the footage because there's so much they have to redact. I'm waiting for a different police department, Port St. Lucie in Florida, to refund me. I should have the check today, I hope, in Jesus' name, so I can deposit that and pay Georgia police for this Kim and Croy body cam footage. There should be a lot of it because, according to TMZ, 3 police officers plus a supervisor showed up that night to try and calm things down, and no one was arrested. I don't know how long they stayed there, but that's at least 4 body cam videos and perhaps even 4 dash cam videos. A lot of footage. Stay tuned, because cops told me it should take 30 plus business days in order to redact all of that footage. In the meantime, let's talk about how this marriage gone bad has turned into true crime body cam fodder because the police keep getting summoned to this home.
Did you know that the best way to make an extra income on Amazon is not by setting up an online store or selling physical products? So what's the best side hustle right now for professional women to make an extra income that you can do anywhere in the world at any time of your choosing? Well, thanks to Amazon, there's now...
I'm letting the video play so that Thunder gets some money, since I'm kind of cheating because I'm using her video. So I'm letting the commercial play so she gets some money for it. I only have a couple viewers, so it's not like I'm going to make a lot of money off it. Actually, I don't make any money on this channel.
4th grade level, and you have a laptop and some Wi-Fi, you can basically get started, even when you're on a relative...
Oh, did you just see that? Guys, here's the thing.
He's being ridiculous, and you know he's being petty. Get out of my face, out of my car. This is my vehicle, and you have the other vehicle. It is. It's in my name and Brielle.
You should listen. It's a joint marital asset. Guys, it's a joint marital asset. We're on the verge of like creating a situation we don't need to. Yeah. And if I had to arrest one of you right now in front of your kids, that would be the worst thing for me. Yeah.
And how some people even think it might be an act. Is it a bid for a new reality show played? Kim and Croy's attempts to get a contract somewhere Is it an attempt, a sad attempt by Kim and Croy to get a new reality TV show or something? Are they putting on a show for the police-worn body cameras and random iPhone holders strolling by?
So I'm asking you guys, stop provoking.
I'm not sure. I don't think I am prone.
Well, you're
Are you
bordering.
kidding
I'll
me?
be honest with you.
Are
You're
you
bordering.
kidding me, dude?
You're bordering. Because if you want to see what all she's taking, that's fine.
I have every right to do what I'm
You
doing.
stole the stuff. I didn't take any of your stuff. You stole my stuff. I didn't take any of your
Is that
stuff.
the
I
last-
don't care. I'll make more of it. It's fine. Take it. Whatever.
Kim, is that the last one right there? What else you got?
Looks like you don't care.
Yeah, I just gotta get a water. And
Kim, just try to. I know he's trying to provoke you. I got it. You also got a wallet right there behind you. Something.
thank you.
Here's the deal. I know he's trying to provoke you for some reason.
Yeah.
So okay, but just keep in mind the kids are watching too. Okay.
Are they outside right there?
They're all
I
outside.
didn't see them.
All right. So if you would, if you can, don't engage with him. Let him do what he's saying or whatever, and just get your stuff and let's go. If you need us later on tonight when you come back, give us a
I'm
call.
very afraid what you're gonna do when I'm gone.
We'll be here.
I'm very afraid of what you're gonna do when I'm gone for my stuff. Like, I think that's crazy. But
Well, here's what I would do if it were me. I'm not an attorney. I can't offer you legal advice. But if it were me, just like he's doing, when you come back or now,
right now, I'm gonna do it
walk
right now.
around with your phone and video.
Grab my, you gotta have 2 phones. You know why? Because I can't call 911 because it takes my phone every time. Which the officer told me that when you do
That's
that,
a crime,
that's
too.
A crime. He told me that's a crime, whatever day.
But we have to be able to prove it sometimes. He has to be able
All
to
the
admit it.
cameras
Or we
off
have
of my
to,
house. Why? 55 cameras.
he did say that. Yeah,
Why? Why? You want to know why? You want me to tell you why? The real reason why?
I'm sure.
Like, I'm not playing with you. I'm being fucking serious.
So if you wanted to walk around and do that, don't get in his face. Don't do what he's doing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying it before it happens,
Well,
I
I need
guess.
to get a water real quick. And I'm just gonna
No
take
worries.
a picture. And he's getting. This is
If
where
you
it
take a
started.
video of what's in your closet, that way you know what's there when you return.
Or is this more legit and sad, like I think of it, especially when I think of all their children witnessing this? Is it just us watching the crumbling, the demise of a marriage, which we hope does not turn into a disaster? It seems like 1 minute Kim and Croy are just on and off, hot and cold. They're at an Italian restaurant in love, celebrating their 12th anniversary of their wedding. Or they're at a hibachi and Kim is talking about how she doesn't eat meat or something.
This is my favorite restaurant, guys, in Newport. Why don't you do that, Croy?
I do. You do? Just
No.
not when you're around.
No.
I believe you, man.
Chicken I do sometimes, but yeah. I like veggies more. I just don't like it.
Okay. What about you, man?
I like
You know, you
I
love
like
meat,
meat.
man.
Gotta go.
I see, man. I see.
Listen, my friend, quit settling for single family home investments. Instead, learn the art of acquiring big apartments.
How cute, guys.
So cute.
Croy deep fried this turkey. Crazy. Croy really killed it this year.
Oh, Kim and that guy, they were on the Real Housewives of Atlanta,
Funny part,
apparently. I
first
never
of all,
watched that
I'm
show,
not-
but it's
I'm a
of the
fan.
Real Housewives
Cash and Croy love this.
series.
I can eat that. I can eat it. I can eat it. Of course you can.
Okay, guys, I have this amazing china that I've had for, I don't even know, probably 15 years. I've never once used it. Actually, I think I did one Thanksgiving, mine and Croy's first Thanksgiving together. Never used it again. I don't know why. I just want to look at it. This whole thing lights up and I love it. Guys, who likes this? Look at this. It's shaped like the can. Who likes this? Please tell me.
Way better.
The next minute, they're screaming at the top of their lungs on body cam videos or on random iPhone videos where neighbors can hear them.
Why'd you take him then? If you were worried about the kids, then maybe you should, hello?
Probably watching our kids instead of dealing with.
Hello? No, I'm tired of you taking all my personal belongings over and over and over. All the time. My very expensive handbags are gone, my collector ones that I love so much. You just do this stuff and then act like you're like, oh yeah. Why don't you show them who you really are? Should I play the
Get some education. You sure? Go ahead. I have nothing to hide. I got nothing to hide.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
Hey, this is not going to be productive for you guys. So it doesn't matter.
Get out of here. Can you please convey that he cannot? I mean,
So, Miss Kim, you're saying.
So this is for the newcomers who just came in. These are two reality stars that are having a public divorce. They were apparently very famous in the Real Housewives
Just hear me out for a
conglomerate.
quick second.
Real Housewives of Atlanta.
If you would just, because here's the deal. You guys are upset, angry, and I know why. I get it. On both sides, I really do get it. I've been there. I was married for 17 years myself. I didn't have to deal with, but here's the thing. If any,
Kim, you need to listen.
but here's the thing. If a report come out or any two of you went to jail, whatever, TMZ would be the first thing all over that. Y'all don't want that. Y'all don't need that. So if you can do amicably, that would be great. But here's the deal.
This is not
If you come back tonight and you come with a locksmith or whatever, call us back, okay? Because here's the deal. I can't say, if he wants to physically stand in front of that safe and say nobody's taking it, I can't make you move. I can't. So it's going to be an issue. But if you have a lawyer and he has a lawyer, then that's where it gets solved peacefully.
You just need to stop.
So,
this is ridiculous.
But whatever.
My stuff back, Tess. Stop taking
You
my
have
belongings.
all of your
You took all of my
belongings.
purses
Kim,
just
these are
now.
joint marital
They're
assets.
not. They're not. It's okay.
An officer he worked for you need to understand these are joint marital
You're
assets.
doing it
You
to
bought
punish me. You're doing it to sell them.
everything.
You're doing all of that. These purses
no.
are not from you.
Just,
The gray ones
Thank you.
from Lee. Some of them are from.
Ms. Kim, it's okay. We're not concerned about that.
No,
Unless you're alleging that there was a crime that was committed,
No.
then that's not concerning us now. And I understand. No, I get it. I do. I understand. I just want to be here to help you get your stuff.
You don't understand something that literally in real life, that when you take somebody's belongings, like some of these are sentimental to me and very expensive, and they're from prior to him, like you said with the receipt.
Right.
Why are you taking my purses? You're doing it to be fucking petty. Like that's what he's doing, and you know that, and I know that.
Well, I can't.
It's not worth that. Like it's not worth it. You can keep the mother. Keep it all. Just keep it.
Well, for whatever reason, he is choosing to do that. So at least you know. At least you know what you need to do to protect the rest of the things that you say.
Kim Kardashian says she never gets eyelash extensions, but having such thick lashes? Why?
These are my lashes. Everyone thinks that I have on lash extensions, and I don't. Do you see that? No lash extensions here, people.
From Kardashian's makeup bag, we cracked her secret. It's Lashblux Eyelash Grower.
Now, if you need to catch up and you haven't been following this story, just check the links
She
below
just
for
flipped
the
the
full
bird.
podcast and watch all the body cam videos that police would release to me and the 911 calls thus far until we get this next set of body cam video footage. So find all those links below. Now, Kim is 45 and Kroy is 38 years old. They've been married for 12 years, and Kim, rightly so, seems desperate to make money. People have been put off by the way Kim has been using Instagram to post these clickbait type posts where one of them had people thinking Kim was about to become a grandmother. It was this sonogram, like, I can't wait to be a grandmother or something like that. They thought Brielle, Kim's daughter, was pregnant. You click through and it's nothing. It's just some kind of video. TMZ did confirm that Kim is getting paid to post stuff like that. And there was another one where people were thinking, oh, is Kim herself pregnant? But no, she's just trying to get paid.
Back at it, guys. Back at it. Basketball.
I hope Kim is getting paid enough to pay off this debt. That seems to be at the heart, at least one of the main problems of her and Kroy's marital problems. And Kim is still turning to Instagram to sell off designer shoes and purses and all this stuff, which I can't believe costs so much to begin with. And she has the proof on some of these purses. Never carried, something that's like $6,500. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, in my world, I'm like, that could go towards a car or
lots of talk about this bag. You guys, how this is working is you just Zelle. I'll send you a DM, you Zelle, and then I ship it out basically that day. This is better pictures of the bag. It's in perfect condition, only been carried a couple times, has the authenticity card and the bag with it. It's pretty cool. This adorable Louis Vuitton oversized bag, great for travel, excellent condition. This adorable Givenchy bag, So cute. I will show you guys the inside as well. Brand new. And then this one as well is not very. This is pretty
Okay,
much
well,
on par with the other
she's
one.
milking it, selling all her used
videos.
stuff that's virtually new. But I don't know, it's not worth it. I don't spend all that money on clothes and purses and
Oversized Chanel bag in
crazy.
here is really, really cool. It's awesome for travel as well. Used one time. Men's Valentino. Okay. Adore.
Watched, but it's sad to think off show on Bravo. Maybe they could call it The Ring Didn't Mean a Thing, since they like to name the shows after Kim's songs, apparently. Would viewers watch that type of conscious uncoupling? Maybe they would, the way these body cam videos are being watched. But it's sad to think of Kim and Kroy.
I have one thing to say about this. Okay, so now here, Plunder has now I'm rebroadcasting Plunder. Okay, great. I'm not making any money off this. This channel is not monetized. You know, it's weird. It runs commercials, though. I'm still trying to figure that out. But all right, now Plunder is running video. You know, the body cam of the Zelziak, this lady, and of her selling her stuff. You see how money moves? Now, if I were Plunder, I'd say, if you buy one of these items that you've seen on here, you know, or if you buy an item, let them know that you found out about it through Plunder. And that lady should give a commission to the Plunder lady. Or like if one of you goes over to Kimberly Bierman's Instagram and buys one of the things, the reason you only found out about it was because you were watching this channel here. And I'm not going to, care, But indirectly, I should get a commission. You see what I mean? Because you wouldn't have known Kim Bierman was even selling stuff. My point is, Plunder is now saying, well, maybe Kim Bierman is doing this to make money, because they are famous, sell her stuff. I don't know, just there's so many different ways money can get made through scandal. You know what I mean? A lot of YouTubers now have income because they're following these cases. And so, we call it fluff, but fluff, as long as you know it's fluff, it's a famous rich couple having a fight. Okay, we know it's fluff. It's not serious, but it's an economy there. This young lady spends out of her own pocket. You can tell she really likes what she does. Plunder. What's her name? The name of the channel. 1 second. Plunder. What's this lady's name? Paula Mooney. So Paula Mooney really likes what she does. She uses her own money to buy the police body cam. I guess you have to spend, so that's a true crime channel. Someone who's really invested in her channel. See, what I'm not doing, I just want to talk about the cases, but she does the actual, investigation of facts. And so anyway, getting back to that other trial in the Bahamas, it's right here. I could take a day ferry to the Bahamas. I wonder if I could go and watch the trial when it's on. I should see. I could go over to the Bahamas and I saw a camera at Walmart, a video camera that similar to the one that I lost, and it was a good price. Because I have so much money right now that I could be spending on a new camera, but facetious. So anyway, but I also have to do something with my life. After the holidays, I'll straighten things out. All right. All right. Let me find something else to watch. Are you guys interested in this? Yeah, it is off topic. The footage. Wait a minute. And okay. Oh, I'm missing all your stuff. I couldn't imagine spending $12,000. Exactly the price of those purses. That's ridiculous. and good quality things, but there's a limit. Yeah, a purse and shoes, I'll admit, when you get cheap purses and cheap shoes, they last a week. They really don't last. So I could understand paying more for shoes and a purse rather than clothes. But even for a good purse, a couple hundred at most is what I'd be willing, because I've tried and true. I had a purse that lasted I still have them actually. They cost over 100, under 200. And I saw them, said it's more than I usually like to spend, but I know when I get a cheap purse, it's not real leather, for example, which is hard for me because I try to be vegan, but when you get the man-made stuff, it doesn't last. Well, actually, I do have one now that is lasting, and I didn't spend much on it. So far, so good. But, cheap purses usually ruin quickly. So, good quality. I like good quality things, but there's a limit on mine. But isn't the footage just taken so if she doesn't owe Plunder anything? Yeah, she just took the footage. That's true. She just took the footage. So, yeah, she's giving free advertising to Kim. Well, see, here's the thing. So Kim, what's her name? I don't know her name already. Bierman. Should be happy that her footage is getting stolen because she's getting free advertising. So I guess, yeah, the trick is if you're going to have a YouTube channel, talking to myself, what I should do is put a watermark. So even the news used Plunder's channel. So Plunder paid for it out of her pocket. Now she'll get a reimbursement. Apparently, she's talking about, she's doing what she has to do. So yeah, no, she doesn't. I guess officially, legally, she probably doesn't owe her anything. But it might be a nice thing to do. But you know what? Then there's you got that going in on it, and then you're gonna wonder how truthful Plunder is being. Because if she starts getting kickbacks from Kimberly and is it benefiting off of the scandal, then that will make her look less believable. So yeah, I don't think she should. And I certainly shouldn't. I'm stealing 2 videos. We're stealing the police body cam footage, which was stolen by Plunder, and I'm stealing Plunder's footage, who stole in quotes. So yeah, it's too much, Oh, the camera that I had, the Sony. I had a Sony camera. It came from making videos with many. I went to Walmart one day and I saw it in the case. It was up in Maryland, and it was 130 something, and it looked so much like the camera that I had been stolen. It was a Sony Minicam, I think it was called. Mini camcorder. Let me see. Yeah, it was just a Sony Handycam. That's what it was. And I'm seeing it here at Best Buy for $229. But I saw the Sony Handycam. Yeah, I would say a Sony Handycam is what I had. And I don't think I paid more than $200 for it. But look, you have some Sonys that are $1,100. I wouldn't spend more than, a Sony Handycam here at Best Buy, $230. I wouldn't spend more than that, and I'd get a Sony Handycam. Those were my. Right now, I'm using this little webcam. It's a horrible, crappy one. But the videos you used to watch of me that were very good quality, that's the other thing. If I'm going to try to make money off YouTube, I have to have good quality video. That was a Sony Handycam. There's different versions of it, but I didn't spend more than, at the time, and I bought it years ago, no more than $200. So imagine that same camera today, maybe a little over $200. Here I see one Sony. Here's one at Walmart, $289. That's really pushing it. That's a lot of money. But what does that come with? Yeah, but it looks very much like the one I used to have. They're selling it at Walmart. Let's look at this one. Good quality, at least a 1080px, at least. Here we go. Share this tab instead. This one. Just like that. And it shuts up small. It shuts up small. So I would get that. That's the one I had, and that's the one I'm going to buy again. Not the one or one similar. I don't know the differences, different types of them, but the Sony Handycam. But it's very much like this one. Oh, I miss it so much. I lost a lot of stuff in that luggage. Man, that man was such a jerk. This one's $229. And it has this pop-out screen. You could flip it towards yourself or away from yourself while you're filming. I like to flip it away from myself because when I have the cam flipped toward myself while I was filming, I would look at the camera at myself and rather than looking at the actual to the screen. So, but yeah, I would look into a Sony Handycam, whatever price range, 1080px. What else? Widescreen, zoom, the basics. I would get this one. If I right today had the guts to, I would. I should just get it. Look, you can pay 4 payments for $57.50. You can pay it in installments. That's at Best Buy. You're in Canada, so I don't know what's similar to Best Buy in Canada. I think you're in Canada, aren't you, Sadie? I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think for some reason you're in Canada. Yeah, Sony Handycam. That would be my. Oops, I closed the screen. Hi, Desmond. Sony Handycam is easy to use. Teaching people how to edit their videos better. Yeah, I thought. I thought of so many things. See, I have so many ideas. Even some of your ideas are really good. And I tried some of your ideas. And then I just kind of, I'd like to get back to that secretary channel. The secretary channel, maybe a true crime channel would be fun. I'm talking about money makers. Secretary channel, a true crime channel, maybe. I can't do a political channel. I wouldn't make money, first of all, because my views are not too popular. But also, I would get too anxious, too agitated. So, yeah, I got to focus on one or the other. The sewing channel really was, non-controversial. People were learning. I was the happy housewife, I always had my makeup done. If you see that channel, if you saw me on that channel, you would not believe I'm the same person as I am, in real life. I think I lost a lot of, followers on this channel because they met me on the ASMR channel. And then on this channel, and like a part of me is like, you want to be liked, of course, but you have to be yourself. So I finally decided I'm just going to be who I am, and whatever, I know when you are 100% yourself, you do lose a lot of, not friends, because they weren't friends to begin with. And I'm talking Facebook friends, these are people I haven't seen in decades even. But, people you felt were your friends in high school and stuff, and you realize, wow, they really weren't, But then the ones that do stay and are still friends with you on Facebook, then oh, they really do think, they like me or whatever. Anyway, teaching people how to, you're very good at it. That channel was fun. The sewing channel, yeah, I feel like we've been friends for years. Yeah. Oh, wow. So you found me on the sewing. Yeah, I made a lot of friends on the sewing channel. I did a little advertising to get more viewers for the sewing channel, but that was before we were making money. But I wanted to make money, but it was before you could make money from commercials. But I was thinking, I could get a lot of followers and then I'll start selling clothes and sewing patterns. That was my idea. I was going to start do the sewing patterns and then show them how to use my patterns to sew, like another channel that was doing that at the time. So you couldn't make money directly from YouTube, but YouTube was a good way to advertise yourself. You know, it was free. You didn't have to pay any money to do your video, and then you just had to get your video seen, and then you got people to buy your stuff. That was kind of the first beginning of YouTube. So I was in Argentina as a housewife. I said, oh, I'm gonna do this, and then I could start making patterns. I started learning how to make pattern making. I'm pretty good at pattern making. I just didn't feel like doing it. So I did make 1 or 2 patterns that I'm now selling on Etsy. But, you know, again, you got to be dedicated. I should be creating patterns and selling them, and I'm not doing it. So anyway, but I might get back to the sewing. And the good thing about selling sewing patterns is you do the pattern once, and yeah, it's a lot of work to draw and make the pattern how you want it, and you put your name on it. And then people just download it, you know, it sells itself. So the hard work you do one time, you do the video showing how to use the pattern. I did do that for one. I got to redo the video though. I'm going to get my nails done, and then I'm going to do a really good sewing video of all of my patterns, but like really well done. Because I've got videos out there that are old, that are blurry, you can't see it properly. The lighting was, you know, that's what I lack, the dedication, you know. But if I would do that, you know, I already have this one pattern just selling, you know, and it's nothing to stop anyone from taking that pattern, adapting it, and selling it themselves, you know. But I'm not worried about copycats, because you can't stop people from stealing your patterns, you know. So, but they would have to know something about pattern making to switch it up. Otherwise, they would be reselling your same pattern, but I've got my watermark on the pattern. So, you know, sure, they could download my pattern, print out 100 copies, and sell. Okay, maybe somebody's doing that. I don't think they are, but let's assume they are. You know, it's still got unless they know how to make their own pattern with their own watermark logo on it and everything, you know. And if they do that, more power to them. That's wonderful. They took something, they adapted it, they made it better, and they resold it, you know. I think there has to be free laissez-faire, it's called. Free capital is capital. You know, you got to have some regulation in business if you want to bring it down to the nuts and bolts. But, you know, leave business alone. Laissez-faire is a very capitalist viewpoint. And capitalism isn't a bad word. It's you know, yeah, maybe parts of capitalism are, but, you know, I'm here, someone with these ideas, and I talk a lot, and I don't do any of them. If somebody out there hears one of the ideas and said, hey, that's a great idea, and does it, I can't sue them. Yeah, it was my idea, but I'm just sitting here on my idea. So I don't blame anyone for saying, hey, that's a good idea. If I did this, if I got a camera, Sadie, and bought her pattern or got her I'm even offering the pattern for free. I'm just giving you an example. Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I could just adjust the lines a little bit, or, you know, someone without much creativity say, hey, I'll download the pattern and then I'll go on the street and sell it. You know, sure, you could find people to buy it, but it's still going to be, you know, promoting me. So, you know, if you're making money off of my, you know what I mean? So I don't care if somebody does that. I don't care if somebody takes the pattern, changes it, and puts their own logo on it, because they still have to go to work. And even if they don't change, I would prefer that they make some adaptations to it, so it's not an exact copy of mine. But, you know, take my pattern, just take my logo off it and put your own logo on it and upload it to your account and sell it yourself. I can't stop anyone from doing that. And the pattern does sell. But you'll now be my competition, so now I'll be competing with you. You'll have to be finding your markets, you know, and I'll be maybe not even competing. Maybe you're someone who lives in, I'm even thinking, maybe there's someone who lives over there in one of the Arabic, in the Muslim countries. You know, those do-rags are used as hijab. Not hijab, hijab cap. They put it underneath. You know, most of my customers are European and American, you know, and I've done a few, you know, I've done some advertising down there. You can advertise for cheap on the internet. Down in Latin America, I don't get many purchases down there. I have it translated into Spanish, and no, I don't get many purchases. So, you know, maybe somebody else can can corner that market. Oh, I'm going to sell this pattern over in, you know, some part of the world that nobody, I'm not making a living off the pattern because there's only one pattern, but you know, there's so many people in the world. You can't steal someone's business. You can compete with someone. You know, there maybe are some copyright rules on patterns. Like if I could prove that they stole my pattern, and I don't know if it's worth it, you know, because I'm selling the pattern for cheap. If somebody tries to sell it, let's say I'm selling it for $5 now, I might up the price. But let's say somebody gets the pattern, sells it for 10. Well, then I'm already competing with them because mine's selling for 5. So, you know what I mean? There's ways you can compete with someone who steals your idea too. So I think we shouldn't get too wrapped up in that's my idea, you can't do it, because you spend more energy fighting people that are still going to sell your stuff, you know. Or another complaint people have in design is, and I've done some blogs on this, like, oh, that person stole my design and they're reselling it. It happens all the time. It's very normal that a fancy, famous designer will do something, and then you'll see it in Hot Topic or in one of the cheaper stores, you know, within a month or two. They just take the exact design, copy it, or maybe make a few little adjustments. It happens in fashion. We steal fashion from previous designers from the 1920s, for example, and then it's normal when you're creating. It's normal to copy, or more often than not, you're inspired by others. But some people will flat out just take the design, copy it, and sell the pattern. Any piece of clothing you buy today, you can sell the pattern. You just take it apart, trace around, you know, make sure the back is even. Anyway, so that's also sometimes why I think about the big picture. I'm like, oh, it's hard to run your own business. That's why I don't do it successfully because it's very difficult. It takes way more dedication than it does. You make a lot more money too. You have the potential of making a lot more money too, and you have your freedom to some extent, but you're a slave to your business. You're a slave to yourself and your goal and your business. So, you know, it is, but it's me talking. Oh, you found me first and then the sewing. Yeah, so sewing was first and then the ASMR. After my divorce, I don't know. ASMR is a kind of a cult. You know, it's kind of a, and then everybody has their own, yeah. I don't know what ASMR is. I mean, I'm sure people feel tingles, all that stuff probably exists, but I don't know. It's kind of a weird community, which I kind of got sucked into, and that's great, you know, but I don't know. It's just, it didn't fulfill me. Because, you know, imagine being able to snap gum as well as I used to. I still can a little bit. Gee, I just had to do a gum snapping video every day and I could be making so much money. People, those gum snapping, and it made me angry that people, you know, that's kind of why I didn't do much gum snapping, because I was like, it made me angry that people only liked me because of gum snapping. Hey, I'm a person here, you know. I'm not just a gum snapper. And like I had a, just do the gum snapping and shut up is what a common sense person would say. Just do the gum snapping and shut up and make the money. And, you know, but I couldn't, it just didn't feel sincere to me. I didn't believe in my craft. I just believed that I got lucky, that I had cavities when I was able to snap on both sides because I had 2 huge cavities and there was a nice air pocket there. You know, it's just, and how is that ASMR when you really think about it? It's not always because you have cavities. Sometimes you're just using the bumps in your teeth, like the hills and valleys in your teeth. You find a little pocket there of a dip, of a valley. But if you have a cavity, you have a bigger pocket. That's why I was snapping like really well at one time. I had a huge cavity that once I got it fixed, I wasn't able to do it anymore. So that kind of puts a damper on the gum snapping. Just the rambles. You have to run. Oh, Merry Christmas, Sadie. Bye. Oh, 5 people. All right. Well, I guess I don't want to bore you. Let's watch something else. So Here's Plunder. Let's see what else she's got. Lindsay Shiver caught cheating. Okay, hey, this is the one I want to watch about Lindsay Shiver. Let me share this screen. Hang on a second. 7 people. We're gonna watch about Lindsay Shiver now. On Plunder. Present. We're gonna share the screen. Plunder. And I want to play this one.
Here's why I'm never going back to my old runny eyeliner again.
Why is that so small? Wait a minute. Hang on a second. I'm trying to make this. How do I make this big? Hang on a second. Wait.
Okay, we've got a lot to talk about when it comes to the case of Lindsay Shiver, the Bahama mama who was accused of putting out a murder for hire plot against her husband, Robert Shiver. Well, now the Daily Mail is coming out with an explosive article. Robert claims that he caught his 37-year-old wife with an 18-year-old last year in 2022 in their home in the Bahamas. And do you know what allegedly gave her away? Her Apple Watch. It would not be the first time that an Apple Watch has given people away. You know, sometimes when that activity gets going at 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. at the same time, and you might get an alert that so-and-so and so-and-so finished their workout at the exact same time at 2:30 a.m., well, you can probably predict that they weren't jogging. Now, I don't know if that's how Robert found out, but let's talk about those accusations. Let's talk about these text messages that are at the heart of this case that Lindsay sent to her boyfriend, and he in turn sent to his friend, the would-be hitman in the Bahamas, on that pivotal day, July 16th, 2023, when this murder plot was allegedly hatched. Let's talk about if prosecutors have enough evidence or not. Finally, mixed in there, let's talk about Savannah Chrisley. Savannah Chrisley is Robert's famous girlfriend, and she just came out with a podcast episode where she spills the beans about having respect for Lindsay, even though she doesn't say her name ever, about Savannah not being the cause of their divorce. And Savannah is tired of being the bad guy. She doesn't want to be painted as a homewrecker. Savannah talks about not taking Lindsay's place as a mother to their 3 boys. Lindsay is their mom. So we've got a lot to talk about. But first, the Daily Mail. Today is Tuesday, December 5th, and Robert is not pulling any punches when it comes to what a bad wife he claims Lindsay is. She had more than one affair, according to him. DailyMail.com exclusively revealed that Lindsay had more than one affair, and Robert said she would get, quote, loads of money if he died. So Robert is 38, and he's been married to Lindsay for more than 10 years, about a dozen years or more, but now he's claiming that Lindsay sneaked some 18-year-old into their Abaco home in 2022. If you click on the link below to the podcast series to watch this whole series of videos I've created about Lindsay, the cheerleader, her rich husband, and the hitman, you will know that locals in Thomasville, Georgia and beyond have been buzzing about this for months. They've been buzzing about this for months. There have been rumors that Robert had somehow caught Lindsay with some guy in their Bahamas home. Supposedly, he caught her by looking at video footage or security cameras, but this is slightly different news coming out in the Daily Mail. And many people assumed Robert caught her with the same guy, Terrence Bethel, that she was caught having an affair with, that bartender who worked at the Grabbers Bar. Well, no, according to this, Terrence was at least the second guy that Lindsay had an affair with. It doesn't go into all the gritty details that we want about Lindsay being caught. Robert supposedly told investigators he uncovered Lindsay's affair somehow through her Apple Watch. We don't know the details of that. He forgave her, I guess, back in 2022. They have 3 boys. I mean, wow, that's a lot. A 37-year-old and an 18-year-old. Ooh. But allegedly, Robert agreed to forgive Lindsay of her indiscretion with that 18-year-old because Robert and Lindsay have 3 young boys. He was going to give it another go. But according to Robert, Lindsay didn't stay faithful. In February of 2023, he uncovered another affair. We know Robert reportedly hired a private investigator, and that's how he found out Lindsay was not being faithful. 37-year-old Lindsay was having an affair with a younger man again. Not an 18-year-old this time, but a man in his 20s, Terrence Bethel. Terrence Bethel is 28, and he was arrested along with his friend, 29-year-old Farron Newbold Jr. So not only was this affair with Terrence uncovered in February, later in this year, a series of text messages were also uncovered, and now we know what the trio, Lindsay, Farron, and Terrence, allegedly were texting one another and how it all began on July 16th. An affair is one thing, or more than one affair is one thing, but once it moves into talk of an alleged murder for hire, that's a whole different ballgame. That's why Lindsay and Terrence and Farron were arrested 1 week after Lindsay had it out with her husband that day, that pivotal day, July 16th, when Robert would not let Lindsay get on the plane, as we discussed, with her boys and with Robert, just so she could jet off to go see her boyfriend. Robert did tell police he was living in fear of Lindsay, 5'3" tall, says the Daily Mail. That's what's been uncovered in a 2-page statement from Robert that was delivered along with the indictment to defense lawyers on Friday, December 1st. We know Lindsay and Terrence and Farron appeared in court Friday, December 1st, and we expect them to appear in court again this Friday, December 8th. So now that defense lawyers have this 2-page statement from Robert, we're getting the inside scoop on what the dossier contains. I guess this is the point where a lot of discovery is being turned over, and there are rumors about what it lacks. This can be the downfall or the weakness of this case. The fact that it doesn't talk about a murder weapon, or it doesn't talk about a manner or a cause of death or a method, and it's not talking about, according to the Daily Mail, any specific plans. I think there's no plans, there's no dates, there's no necessarily location, and that kind of lines up with other rumors we're hearing about what the evidence lacked on Friday. But it does reveal the details of the text messages that are at the heart of this matter. Lindsay may dispute this, but previously there was an alleged confession to police where Lindsay did admit she told Terrence that she wanted to kill Robert, and that Terrence reportedly understood and, quote, wanted to kill him also. But Lindsay is also claiming she just expressed those things because she was hurt and angry. We all saw that July 16th body cam footage. Once again, I've linked to it all below if you haven't seen it. She was so hurt and angry because of the events of that day. That's why she was just venting, according to Lindsay.
The 2023 Kia Sorento. It's the perfect blend of style, comfort, and adventure. You'll be well equipped for any outing with Sorento's flexible seating and storage options. It's the season of giving back. Grab a fantastic offer and start your family's next adventure in a new Kia.
Before they realized it? How do you have a homeless guy sleeping in your house and you don't know?
I think this case will all hinge on a matter of how you interpret these upcoming text messages. When Lindsay was asked in the interview, look, did you plot with Terrence and Farron and conspire to kill your husband? She said no. And Lindsay is also claiming that she didn't cheat, claiming her marriage was on the rocks long before. So we don't know if Lindsay is just saying she's separated in her heart from Robert. Does Robert have hard evidence, video proof, Apple Watch proof, screenshots, anything of her alleged cheating? Does Lindsay have any proof? Did Robert ever cheat? I think there are ways to produce hard evidence. Basically, Lindsay is saying she didn't cheat apparently because maybe in her heart the marriage was over long before, it was on the rocks. Just like Savannah is going to talk about, she is not the person who came along and broke up a marriage. Even though they're not technically divorced yet, I can understand Savannah's point of view. She's not some homewrecker who came in and broke up some happy marriage. The text messages that were sent center around the events of the July 16th day. So it helps to know what happened that day when Lindsay was trying to get her happy butt on that plane with Robert and their 3 boys. Robert said no, the cops were called. Lindsay did say Robert gets aggressive with her. She claimed he pushed her out of the way, trying to, get his kids' bags out of her car, out of her black Cadillac, the Black Widow, her Cadillac Escalade. But Lindsay could not provide any proof that I saw. The female cop was asking her if you can provide any video evidence, if you can provide an independent witness, anything like that would help prove Lindsay's case. But Lindsay didn't give them anything except her words. She just kind of stood there like, so it'll always be he said, she said, almost like she was trying to cry. I don't know about that, but obviously based on these text messages that Terrence sent to his friend, it sounds like Lindsay gave Terrence an earful about what happened that day. It was the same day, July 16th, that the Daily Mail says investigators stumbled onto the text messages because they were investigating the Grabbers Bar break-in from the night before. They say investigators were examining Terrence's phone because, first of all, Terrence was a bartender there at Grabbers Bar, and he was one of the last people on site that night. But here are the exact text messages that the Daily Mail is saying Terrence sent to his friend Farron. I'm going to read them word for word, except instead of the N word, I'm going to say ninja. Quote, this ninja rolled up on Lindsay and wouldn't let her on the plane, and he put his hands on her. I am about to come out of retirement for this ninja. That's what Terrence reportedly wrote to Farron. Let me do a little Ebonics translation there. Terrence is claiming this guy rolled up on Lindsay, rolled up on, kind of aggressive, as if Robert rolled up on her and wouldn't let her on the plane. So we know that's true. That part is true. Robert did not let Lindsay on the plane because he didn't want to confuse the children. He didn't want her hopping on the plane for an hour with their boys and then, bye, mommy's going off to see her boyfriend now. So that part is true. But the next part, and he put his hands on her, that means, he put his hands on her or he put his hands on her in a violent or aggressive way. This could be an exaggeration. We don't have proof that Robert pushed Lindsay out of the way that day. We don't have proof that confirms Robert has ever been violent with Lindsay, as she claims. It may be true, we don't know, we just don't have the evidence. But Lindsay, she's a trip. If you're sitting there texting your boyfriend and you're trying to drum up all this hate for your husband, a younger guy, if he can't already compete with Robert in terms of money, I'm sure Robert has a lot more money than Terrence would working as a bartender. I hate to make assumptions, but that's a big one. Maybe Terrence would need to, feel big and bold and bad and try and feel not like a young guy, but a guy who could protect his older girlfriend and stand up against her husband by saying, what? That ninja put his hands on you? Now, for this part, I'm about to come out of retirement for this ninja. What did he mean by that? What was Terrence's old job? What would he come out of retirement for? Only his best friend would truly know that. Now, are they just talking stuff? It's hard to get the tone when you're talking about text messages. It's hard to know when a person's serious. Now, this is where it gets a little more serious. Quote, he's flying into Baker's Bay, so there is a location. We don't have a time, but he's flying into Baker's Bay. She is thinking about letting me kill him, but he has the kids. So, whoa, you can't tell a lot about text and tone from that passage, but it doesn't look good. Is it enough to put people away for 60 years? I don't know. I mean, we did get a location there. Lindsay obviously was texting, apparently saying, letting Terrence know Robert's location, the fact that the boys would be with him. He's flying into Baker's Bay, but he has the kids. She's thinking about letting me kill him? Yeah, that's pretty scary. And maybe it would be enough to convict, because you don't necessarily need to talk about a murder weapon. You don't necessarily need to talk about exact times and places. Maybe Terrence knew Robert's routine. Did Robert show up at the bar that night, at Grabber's bar? We know we've seen that leaked photo of Robert hugged up with some cute little blonde girl or someone. Is it enough? Lindsay wouldn't necessarily have to know the method of operation. She wouldn't want her boys endangered. That could show seriousness of intent at that point to say, she's thinking about letting me kill him, but he'll have the boys with him. Ugh, that's pretty damning. I don't know if it would pass muster in the U.S. or Bahamian law compared to U.S. law. What do you need to show the seriousness of your intent? Do you have to have money exchanged? Do you have to have direct plans exchanged? You know, some people who put hits out on others, we've seen the undercover footage in so many crime shows where some of them say, I don't want to know how you do it. I don't necessarily want to know when you do it. Keep me out of it. I just want to know it's done. But oftentimes there is an exchange of money. You know, sometimes it's like $5,000 beforehand. And once it's done, a $5,000 bonus. And you've seen the cops thwart all these murder plots. They'll create all these elaborate photos pretending the hitman went through with it, and pretending the person is gone and seeing the reaction of the person who allegedly hired him. That's only if the would-be hitman had approached police and said, look, I don't really want to do this. But anyway, when cops in the Bahamas reportedly told Robert about this plot, once they saw those damning text messages, he called his wife manipulating, and he was wondering, why does she want me out of the picture? And quote, Robert said, she had an affair with an 18-year-old about a year ago and came to Abaco and snuck him into my house in Abaco. That's what Robert's statement says. Quote, I found out about it through her Apple Watch, and she convinced me that she wants to be a family, so we tried to make it work. Whew, that's a lot to forgive. It's one thing to find out if your 30-something-year-old, late 30s spouse has had an affair with someone. Wow, if that other person turns out to be an 18-year-old, that's more of a dagger. Kudos to Robert if all of this is true, if he gave her a second chance, and then things fell apart again when he found out, well, she's down there messing around with Terrence, another guy. According to the Daily Mail, Robert accused Lindsay of drinking, making, quote, poor decisions, and falling in with an unpleasant new crowd. Now, we don't hear anything about drug abuse in that statement, not that they've quoted so far, but we did hear those accusations from Lindsay's mother-in-law, Robert's mother, Robin Shiver, in that other body cam footage from earlier, April 30th, if memory serves. There were 911 calls that day. Robert's parents were afraid Lindsay was following them around. She claimed she just wanted to see where her children were.
That myself or Robert would not ever see these kids again. But now, threatening my life, we hope not.
Okay. Well, just so you know, owning a pistol is not illegal. I mean, everybody's got Second Amendment rights. I just needed some background, okay? Because we were rushing over to get to you.
Yes, I mean, my heart's racing 90 to nothing because of episodes. They talked to her last night. She's delusional, and you know that. And her mom and husband, myself, we're all like, you've got to go get some help. You've got to go get some help. You're mental, and she denies it. And then she left the kids this week and went down to the Bahamas. She could have gotten hold of some drugs down there that everybody thinks she's definitely on, but we can't prove it unless we get a hair sample. So if we could get a hair sample and y'all send it off, or if she could get checked out by a doctor right now, they might can find out more that she's been doing these last 4 days in the Bahamas by herself.
Y'all need to call city police about the text, okay? All right. No problem on that. As far as the threatening text message, I'm sure you heard me, and that's going to be a city police issue because y'all live in the city. Okay. Everything else that we did, she did admit to following you, but she was just looking for the kids. As soon as she saw the kids, she told them. The deputy already told her to move on. She's gone. Okay, so you guys can go about your business. Okay, if she's following you or you feel like she's threatening you in any way, from moving forward, you can call 911 again. But with what we have right now, I'm afraid there's nothing we can do. Okay? This whole thing's been documented and recorded, so you ain't got to worry about that. Okay? We just don't have nothing. We're not.
There she is, right there.
That's not her.
Is that somebody else?
No, that's somebody else.
Transforming education is important for me because I think deep down.
Make me nervous. I'm a nervous wreck.
This is Robin. That's a complaint right there.
Hey, have y'all talked to your son?
Yes.
Today? Okay. He's got the kids, I guess?
He's bringing them home.
Okay.
From her parents' place.
Yeah. That's what she said, but she was saying she was worried because about 30 minutes ago he said they were coming through Wiggum, and obviously she was worried because he hadn't made it home yet. So, but she said they still live in the same house. Okay. I told her to go home, and when they get there, they'll be home. Right. She thought y'all might have them. That's why she was following them. She couldn't call her. Yeah, she showed me on her phone log where she tried to call somebody. She said she tried to call you and her father-in-law, or her sister-in-law maybe. But anyways, either way, I told her not to be following y'all. And if she has any issues like this, she needs to call us before. No. Well, I didn't search her car or nothing, but I asked her about it. She said she did. But
she was just a fun statement.
Yeah. She was on the phone with her attorney when I pulled her. She was on speakerphone with her, but either way, I told her the custody dispute, we don't have any control over that. But she just wanted to make sure the kids, she knew where the kids were, basically what she told me. But at the same time, she said she saw y'all.
She thinks
and then y'all
our neighborhood where my daughter is.
Okay.
It's certainly looking like she's looking for something.
Yeah. Does she live behind your daughter?
She's a mother. She told her mother through a text. You heard what her mother said. You want to tell us what her mother said?
She didn't tell me what the text was, but she said it was threatening, and I asked her where they were at, and I said, look, that's a city issue. They have to report that, okay, because they live in the city.
So we have to report that?
No, because who got the text?
She did, the mother.
Yeah, she has to report it.
Okay.
She needs to report it, because here's the thing, if you ain't got a victim, there's no crime. Does that make sense? So she's the victim. She told me it's threatening, and I asked her where she lived and where her daughter lived.
Resident of the subdivision,
they got to
the
call
uncle, giving them permission to fish out here. Or they're not that person.
Robin, it's my name, or Robert, neither one.
Yeah.
I'm threatening both of them.
Yeah. No, they gotta take it over to city.
Like I said, if you have any issues, if she shows up at your house, or if she starts calling you, or texting you directly, or your daughter, well, I guess your daughter does.
My daughter is autistic as well, so she cannot carry on a communication very well.
Well, if you get any threatening text messages or phone calls, or if she drives by your house, just call us.
Makes me not want to go home though.
Yeah.
She's left.
Y'all don't know her. You don't know her like we know.
No, I don't know.
So it's not a good environment. It's a toxic environment, and it's.
Well, I mean, considering not just you, but her own mom saying the same thing, I'd be inclined to believe it. You just got to understand from our perspective, we got to approach this.
So we call the city. We get back home and call the city cops and tell them what's happening and keep a watch on.
Y'all live in Meander Trace, okay?
Well, we moved in with my daughter who has cancer.
Okay.
She lives right behind Robert and Lindsay. We were headed to where our big home is up for sale, because Robert was going to bring the kids and let us see him because Lindsay was not answering their phone calls all day today. So they thought she had killed herself, to be honest, and had taken an overdose or something.
I'd just go home, get in touch with her mom.
Okay.
And if y'all want to go forth with the city police about that text,
okay,
y'all can do it with that.
Okay. All right. Thank y'all.
Did y'all have contact with the lawyer and all that stuff? This is something good to bring up.
Yeah, we don't, but our son should. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, let him know.
I would make sure I document everything, obviously, and just
Okay.
so they know about it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank y'all for coming, and I'm sorry it was.
Sorry, it was taking a minute for us to get there. We were
Woo,
fighting
y'all
traffic.
wouldn't stop me.
Yeah. All right. You have a good one,
My
man.
mother-in-law started going in and claiming Lindsay was delusional. She was down there hanging out with people. She wanted cops to drug test Lindsay right then and there. But in Robert's statement, he has not mentioned drugs so far that I've seen. But Robert said, quote, "If something were to happen to me, Lindsay would receive loads of money." After all this fallout happened, Lindsay was arrested. She had to spend nearly 3 weeks in that horrible jail in the Bahamas. She should be thankful she got $100,000 bail. The island guys got bonded out too, and so they're all now in the Bahamas. Lindsay has to stay in the Bahamas. She talked about being apart from her boys was the hardest experience of her life. You can't help but wonder, was she thinking about her boys when she was making all these poor decisions? Was she just this lonely stay-at-home mom? That wasn't good enough for her. People are talking about how she's thrown her life away. That wasn't good enough for her. And why not? Did she need all this excitement? Was she trying to relive her cheerleader days?
Cuando me contaron que la carátula del libro sería en un ligero volumen, me pareció pues que era imposible hacerlo. Y cuando después vi las pruebas me llamó la atención que hubiera una reproducción que fuera tan perfecta, tan fiel a mi original. Me gustó muchísimo y estoy muy impresionado con la calidad de las reproducciones.
Las mujeres de Botero. Una obra creada con la colaboración y la supervisión personal de Fernando Botero. Una obra de edición limitada, compuesta por 2 volúmenes. Un libro de arte con 45 láminas, impresas en papel artesanal, que reproducen dibujos seleccionados personalmente por Fernando Botero. Y un
Some people do become stuck and emotionally stunted, and they want to go live their glory days. Is that what Lindsay was trying to do? But Lindsay wore her smart white blazer and black pants, as they say, as she came out of the courtroom, once again smiling. As she came out of the Nassau Magistrates Court, smiling. She didn't give a statement to anyone. They all walked pretty casually out. Was she smiling as a result of the lack of evidence presented? That's what I keep wondering. So we'll look forward to the trio appearing this Friday before a Supreme Court judge to enter their pleas. Chances are dollars to donuts, as my mom would say. They are all going to plead not guilty, and they'll have their bail conditions reviewed. And we know, we talked about in the last video, how Lindsay's lawyer is going to try and get her bail conditions changed so that she can leave the Bahamas. I don't know if a judge will agree to that. But we've got to sit back, and this will be a long ride, because reportedly it could take about 3 years for this case to make it through the Bahamian justice system, which is already overcrowded, moving slowly. I don't know if they'll put a rush on it because of all the attention and money and fame involved, but the Daily Mail does touch on and confirm the things that we learned in the previous video from True Crime Mama. Please go follow her on TikTok. She's great. She's getting the inside scoops. The Daily Mail says that Robert did plan on returning to the Bahamas for Thanksgiving Day, but instead he decided to take his 26-year-old girlfriend, Savannah Chrisley, off to Turks and Caicos. Savannah talks about that more. She doesn't mention why their plans got nixed. According to True Crime Mama, lawyers thought it would be a good thing. I guess a sign of good faith or whatever if Robert would have taken the boys to see Lindsay, maybe a supervised visit or however it might have worked. But 2 days before Thanksgiving, for some reason it got canceled. I don't know why. Robert nixed it. Did the police tell him it wouldn't be a good idea? Is it just not a good look? Did he get a bad feeling? Who knows? But Savannah does talk about how those plans got canceled. She doesn't go into detail about what they were going to do. She's very careful now in talking about Lindsay. She doesn't mention her name or anything. But Savannah did confirm that yes, her and Robert and all the kids did go off to Turks and Caicos, and they stayed in a home owned by Jason and Brittany Aldean. Now, again, Lindsay and Robert's divorce seems like it's going nowhere. I haven't seen any updates. Maybe they'll still have to wait to see how the murder for hire case plays out. But I hope it wouldn't take Robert 3 years to get divorced. My goodness. Now let's move on to this week's episode of Unlocked with Savannah Chrisley. It's linked to below if you want to watch it, so you will know what we're talking about. I had my ears and eyes peeled for any mentions of Robert, and she really goes into it. She's wearing her comfy pajamas and she spills the beans. Savannah was bemoaning the fact that in her relationship with Robert, she can't go to her mom to talk about everyday little issues. Savannah's parents are in prison for frauds. I guess this represents Savannah's first Thanksgiving without her mom and dad. So even though she was with Robert, the relationship is new. He already has kids, obviously. Savannah talked about when her mom met her dad, apparently her dad already had kids. She talks about almost going through the same thing her mom went through, but she doesn't have her mom there. Like when Robert has done something or says something or what have you, Savannah kind of had a mini breakdown because she couldn't just call her mom up and say, oh my goodness, he did this or that. What would you advise? Savannah says since her mom's in prison, obviously, she just has to wait for her mom's call. And hopefully, she's at a point where she can take the call and not busy. Now, we've talked about True Crime Mama being right on the money before Savannah even revealed it. Savannah just published her video today, Tuesday, December 5th, 2023, spilling the beans about her going to Turks and Caicos with Robert and the kids and her siblings and everything they did on Thanksgiving Day, getting a boat and all this stuff. Well, True Crime Mama had spilled that news beforehand, so we know her sources are good. In fact, Savannah delved a little bit more into what they did on Thanksgiving Day. It wasn't a big deal. Thanksgiving in Turks, as she calls it. So it was almost like any other day. She didn't have to pretend. She's not one to sit up there and try and make a turkey. I'm thinking to myself, Lindsay probably was not too happy. I'm sure Lindsay was like building up all this hope to see her boys. And then for some reason, 2 days before Thanksgiving, the plans got nixed. Was it a power move or was it just a smart move? Anyway, Savannah goes into running into Brittany Aldean 2 days before, being a sweetheart, opening up her home to them and everything. Savannah said, I was never going to talk about my Thanksgiving Day plans. She wasn't going to do it publicly, but she said, obviously this year things look very different for my boyfriend and his kids this year, and their Thanksgiving plans look different. That's how she talks. She doesn't get into the murder plot, saying Lindsay's name out loud, at least not in public, but Savannah did say both of their families did need something different this year. Savannah admitted that Robert was texting her a sweet text early, Thanksgiving Day, 8:28 a.m. It's funny how she remembered the exact time. She said, yeah, the kids were all around. We were together, but he was still texting me because they're not doing these PDAs, public displays of affection, all over each other, I guess, while the kids are there. She said, there's a time and place for stuff, and now is not the time. She had apologized to Robert, saying, sorry if I'm a bit quiet. Basically, she was missing her mom and her dad. She was just reminiscing, like a year ago, she would have been coming downstairs. Her mom would have been doing a big spread for Thanksgiving. Her and her dad would have been eating everything before dinner was even ready. And so it was different. That's why she's talking about holiday grief. Not every holiday being sunshine for people who have lost folks. Her folks are still alive. They're in prison. They're just not with her. But she talked about going out on a boat, loving on each other, just loving on the kids, just enjoying the day. The best as it could be enjoyed under the circumstances. Between them both, basically they have 5 kids. Robert's kids are 3 young boys, and Savannah's younger siblings, a boy and a girl. girl. So in essence, they're coming together almost like two single parents, Robert and Savannah. Their whole world's flipped upside down. And again, I do think they're doing a bit of trauma bonding, but perhaps it's meant to be. I hope it'll last. Like I wrote, I wish her the peace of Christ, her and Robert, because it sounds like, boy, if all this stuff coming out about Lindsay's actions are true, yeah, Robert's been through a lot. But I keep thinking about a previous video from True Crime Mama, and she talks about evidence that was presented Friday in court, and this came out before this Daily Mail article, and she talks about what was lacking.
Happy Sunday, guys. Lindsay Shiver, along with Adrian Bethel and Phalo Newbold, were back in court on Friday, December the 1st. I know you guys have been waiting for this update. And there have been updates already on Good Morning America, I've seen, and some other places. However, they are not giving the full story. So on Friday in court, the prosecution was expected to turn over all of the evidence against these three individuals in this alleged murder-for-hire plot against Lindsay's estranged husband, Robert. And while there was some evidence that was turned over, the main evidence, these text messages in question, were not turned over. It is still being confirmed to me that there was never any plot or any plan for these three individuals to carry out a hit on Robert Shiver. After speaking with a former prosecutor this weekend, and this is U.S. law, this is not Bahamian law, understand. However, I just want to point this out. This former prosecutor shared with me that in order for a conspiracy to occur, there has to be some sort of overt step taken in order to complete that conspiracy, such as exchange of money, purchasing a firearm, something like that. And sources say that none of that ever happened. Lindsay, Phalo, and Adrian are expected back in court this Friday, where they will be entering their plea.
In essence, we've heard about that kill him text. We've heard about the alleged photo of Robert that Lindsay purportedly sent to her boyfriend or the hitman. True Crime Mama talks about those important text messages being missing. Now, we know we've seen what we read earlier, like, this ninja rolled up on Lindsay. He put hands on her. She's thinking about letting me kill him, blah, blah, blah. I'm coming out of retirement. So obviously those must have been presented in evidence in this dossier or whatever, turned over in discovery on Friday. But I'm wondering, after watching True Crime Mama's video, did they present all the evidence? Did they present any evidence that specifically showed Lindsay texting kill him? Here's this photo. If they're missing that evidence, that could be a problem. And if they're missing it, why are they missing it? If it's true that they're missing evidence, where is it? Are they still waiting on subpoenas? What is happening by now? Obviously, they've presented some evidence. A lot of people can logically see a trail. July 16th, okay, we see the body cam. We see why Lindsay was so angry. Now we're seeing these resulting text messages. We see them talking. We see them plotting. But where did it go from there? Maybe no money needed to be exchanged. Maybe Lindsay's boyfriend would have had his friend perform the job, or he would have performed the job without his friend, or who knows? Or were they just all venting? I've got to give it up to the cops in the Bahamas, though. They did the right thing by investigating the Grabbers Bar robbery, by investigating these text messages, WhatsApp, whatever messages they were, and they did the right thing by warning Robert to get the heck out of Dodge and get his boys to safety. Because you don't want to just fart around and say, oh, did they really mean this? Is this joking? Is this not? Because if the plot had gone forward and Robert would have lost his life to a crazy and vengeful wife, then everyone would have been pointing at the police like, why didn't you prevent this? So thank God the messages were found. I think it's going to be up to a jury to examine all the evidence. You know how we're getting some in fits and starts. We're learning as it goes. We're getting evidence here and there coming out in little pieces, drips and drabs. Are these all the text messages? Where are the rest of them? Will they all be presented? What exactly do they have? And what else do they need to show a jury or convince a jury of this trio's intentions. So meanwhile, Savannah was also showing her regrets. The stuff she said on Nick Viall's podcast before, back in September, when she told the whole world about the guy she was dating. She said, quote, "This guy I'm talking to, his wife just tried to kill him. It's fine. He's a normal person and I love it. It's very, very new." So back in September, she was just trying to gloss over things. You know, she had been caught in photos, paparazzi photos at the airport. It sounds like Savannah doesn't confirm things or, confront things like she talked about until someone else reports on it first. So if someone else is reporting on it, we saw Savannah and Robert Shiver that first time caught at the airport, appearing as if they were traveling together, even though they were trying to play it off like they weren't. Well, then Savannah started talking about it. But now she talks about how she regrets, maybe she does not regret laying it all out on the line back then, but she regrets using humor in that way. She says there's a time and a place for things once again, and she uses humor, I guess, as a defense mechanism. And she was trying to be funny back then, but she knows not to make those mistakes anymore. She knows, innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, however long it takes. But Savannah did say, "I want my truth to be heard." That first podcast, I aired it all out. I'm not the cause of Robert's divorce. That's where she stands, firmly 10 toes down. I'm not the cause of Robert's divorce. I did not think she ever was, but she's reading all this press, and I guess some people might be coming at her that way. Maybe they're kind of looking at her like a homewrecker or something. She said that was going on long before I was ever involved. But back then on Nick's podcast, Savannah was saying, yeah, I like the DMs. And she also joked, he's too hot to die. So she was trying to make light of a serious situation. She was explaining how she slid into Robert's DMs. I mean, she probably only heard of Robert once all this murder plot melee came about. And we know Robert was pretty open to taking Facebook friend requests. Women were all over his DMs. So I didn't know that someone, so young and beautiful and famous, I didn't expect her to slide into his DMs. But they might be a match made in heaven. You never know. Savannah doesn't like the narrative that's being painted. Savannah did not talk specifically about what narrative she was coming against, but she did say, I am not their mother. She is their mother. She always calls Lindsay she or mother or whatever. She doesn't say Lindsay's name. And she hesitated when she said, I respect her, kind of let you know that she doesn't really respect her, but it's the right thing to say. She is their mother. She said that dating someone with kids, it's such a learning curve. But she talks about her great relationship, her great partner, her great friends, everyone that's got Savannah through this year of difficulty. Savannah did say some people are telling her and Robert, you guys just need to focus on your kids. Don't focus, I guess, on dating. Now, granted, Robert isn't divorced yet. I mean, that is a big problem. But I know I give them grace. People, they cling to each other when you're going through a hard time. I mean, who knows how long this divorce will take? I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's God approved. I'm saying I just understand. We're all human, and I understand wanting to fill the gaps, to be there in that loneliness. Again, I think they're trauma bonding. They've been through a lot. They each have younger people they're responsible for. So I guess they're thinking, why not let's do it all together? And that's what Savannah was saying. It's not like she's leaving the kids with a nanny or, Robert's not leaving his kids with others and they're going off and flying off alone around the world. She's like, we're with our kids, basically. We're full-time parents, as it were, full-time single parents, as it were. So just like when they traveled to Turks and Caicos, they all went together. Looks like they were on that plane, that Honda jet, that Honda PJ that Lindsay could not get on. Savannah made it on, with all the kids, and why not be all together, having a time, spending time together. She called Robert her friend in terms of, I guess, in front of the kids, the images they're putting up in front of the kids. I could see this could go a million ways. If Lindsay isn't convicted, if she's allowed to come back to the U.S., and if Robert keeps dating Savannah, and the divorce between Lindsay and Robert gets finalized, they are going to have to figure it out. Let's say if Robert goes on to marry Savannah, and if they have a cute little baby whom I've already named Harper Shiver, since she loves the name Harper, Savannah and Lindsay would have to figure it out, just like every first wife and every second wife. All the blended families have to figure it out. So it's smart that Savannah's kind of pulling back because we don't know where this case is going to go. either way. If Lindsay must stay in the Bahamas, if she's convicted, if she goes off to spend decades in prison, Savannah would more so step into the role if Robert marries her, if it's a long-term relationship. Savannah would step into the role of bonus mom and learn to bond with the boys even more and raise them almost as her own, still leaving that respect like she's doing to say, Lindsay, like she's doing to say she is their mom. So I understand it. But Savannah doesn't like being painted as the bad guy in this situation. She says, I know my place. And she told Robert, she said, finally, one day, I should not have to suffer for you and your ex's inability to be adults and get divorced and do it the right way. And she talks about hiding and humor, but she 100% stands by her significant other. So she's standing by Robert's side. She's trying to say, look, just because you and your ex couldn't get it together and just divorce like normal human beings and not, get all involved in this crazy murderous plot, it's almost as if she's blaming Robert for something too in there, but I can't figure that out yet. She shouldn't have to suffer. Like her reputation shouldn't have to take a hit because they couldn't figure it out and just get divorced. So let's close with Proverbs 29:26. Many seek the ruler's favor, but justice for man comes from the Lord. So I think that's a great place to end. People want favor from judges, from lawyers, from everyone, but we'll see what the Lord decides. We don't know what justice is in this case. Only God knows their intentions with those text messages. Only the Lord knows if they're strong enough to hold up in court, if it's not enough evidence, if they have more evidence they haven't presented yet. Is it just enough? Is it like the US where the proof has to be evident and the presumption great enough to say, yeah, move forward with this case? Are they, hiding the best evidence to spring on them during the trial? I don't know what's happening. I wish we could watch the trial, but we'll keep posted. And whoa, what do you think about that Daily Mail article, the affair with the 18-year-old, the Apple Watch? Technology, huh? Whew. Anyway, thanks for watching all this. Stay tuned. We'll keep up with the Shiver case and many, many others. Take care.